Most, if not all of us, have experienced some bumped into an old friend in the most unlikely of places. Here are the 10 craziest coincidences of all time. 1. The separated twins with the almost identical lives. A set of twins from Ohio who were separated at birth grew up without any knowledge of each other's existence. Their lives did, however, share a number of strange similarities. They were both named James on their adoptions, they both grew up to be police officers, and both of them married women named Linda. But that's not all. Each had a son, one named James Allan and the other one named James Allan, and each also had a dog named Toy. Both brothers later got divorced, and both ended up remarrying women named Betty. Did Edgar Allan Poe own a time machine? Some people think so. How else could he have known about an event almost half a century before it happened? In his book called The Narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket, the author describes how 4 sailors who survived the sinking of their ship were forced to eat a rather unfortunate cabin boy named Richard Parker. Although Poe claimed that the story was based on real events, that wasn't actually true. 46 years later, however, a boat really did sink, and the members of the crew who were rescued were forced to eat a cabin boy in order to survive. The cabin boy's name? You guessed it, Richard Parker. Mark Twain predicted his own death. Did the famous writer, Mark Twain, predict his own death? Well, if he didn't, then it was a major coincidence. The writer was born in 1835, when Halley's Comet was passing the Earth. It only passes once every 76 years or so, but Twain predicted that he would die on its next passing. I came in with Halley's Comet in 1835, he said in 1909. It is coming again next year, and I expect to go out with it. The writer died on the very day of its appearance in 1910. Coincidence, or reincarnation? The founder of the Ferrari company, Enzo Ferrari, died on August 14, 1988. Just a month later, on October 15, Arsenal footballer Mesut Ozil was born. Take a look at their pictures side by side. Massive coincidence? Or proof of reincarnation? You decide. The Simpsons predicted Trump for president way back in 2000. The Simpsons has been known to accurately predict all sorts of things, but maybe their most impressive prediction of all, and also the most relevant right now, and depressing, was guessing that Donald Trump would become president. We didn't see it coming. You didn't see it coming. But The Simpsons definitely saw it coming way back in the year 2000, although the pictures featured here are from the 2015 episode. Either that, or it's one seriously creepy coincidence. The Dutch cyclist who escaped 2 plane crashes. Believe it or not, Dutch cyclist Martin de Jong has escaped not 1 but 2 major plane crashes in his life. Not only was he supposed to be on board missing Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 before deciding to take a flight that departed an hour earlier, he was also supposed to fly on Malaysia Airlines Flight 17, the one that was shot down over Ukraine in 2014, before changing to a different flight in order to save money. The man who predicted the sinking of the Titanic 14 years before the Titanic sank, in 1898, Morgan Robertson, a fantasy writer from the U.S., wrote about a ship sinking in a novella called Futility. The ship in the book was called the Titan, but that's not the end of the similarities. For example, like the real Titanic, the Titan was described as unsinkable. They also both had insufficient lifeboats, and they both collided with icebergs in the North Atlantic. The strange coincidences between Lincoln and Kennedy. 2 of America's presidents, namely Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy, share a multitude of barely believable coincidences. Both were killed from gunshot wounds to the back of the head. Both died on a Friday. Both died before a celebration. Kennedy was assassinated on the eve of Thanksgiving. Lincoln was killed right before Easter. and each one of them were accompanied by their wife and another couple. But there's more. Both had a friend called Billy Graham, both had 4 children, both had secretaries named after the other. Kennedy's secretary was called Mrs. Lincoln, while Lincoln's secretary was called John, and both of their successors were vice presidents called Johnson. The warning inscription on the tomb of Tamerlane. On June 20, 1940, Soviet archaeologists uncovered the tomb of Tamerlane in what is now Uzbekistan. Tamerlane, who saw himself as Genghis Khan's heir, was a Turco-Mongol conqueror and the founder of the Timurid Empire in Persia and Central Asia. A warning inscription on his tomb read, "Whosoever opens my tomb will unleash an invader more terrible than I." Clearly not superstitious, the Soviet archaeologists ignored the warning and opened the tomb anyway. 3 days later, Adolf Hitler launched Operation Barbarossa, the largest military invasion of all time, upon the Soviet Union. Thank you all for watching. Please subscribe.